Man, you got me making bung holes. Ton of bung holes today.
I heard you're the bung hole king.
I'm the bung hole master. What's up guys, Luke the Welder here. Right now we're about to start plasma cutting some expansion tanks for my buddy Parker Mitchell.
We're gonna be taking a 1,000 horsepower Hellcat engine and swapping it into this Charger. It's gonna be a manual 6-speed car and probably gonna be one of the most epic burnout cars I have ever seen.
We custom made these tanks. I designed them over the last week, and we're going to be making sure that they fit here inside this wheel well in this engine compartment. We're trying to maximize the amount of volume that we can get out of the coolant here. So we're making one for the driver's side and one for the passenger side. So we got the plasma table all fired up. We got the CAD file loaded, ready to cut. So let's get to cutting. we had to take a bunch of measurements, and these have some pretty complex curves inside of here, with the wheel well being a compound curve. So it was pretty tricky getting all the dimensions that we needed to get, but you know, after a little while, we were able to get all the dimensions right.
This one's gonna be sitting under here like this, right? And this will be for the intercooler side. Well, the fitting come down, go through this intercooler over here, which is gonna be air to water. And then we're gonna mount new fans on this side so we get all the CFMs cranking through this thing to keep it cool. Cause it's 6.2 liters of power. I'm talking like on a big pulley setup on this Whipple Supercharger, this thing's making a little over 900 horsepower. So if we get it on the dyno, you know, put a little smaller pulley on here, this thing should make well over 1,000 horsepower to the wheels, just raw, right? No AC, no nothing. I'm excited, Luke. This is really looking good here, man. I think we need to start laying out where some of these bungs are gonna go.
Yeah, let's do it. Let
me show you what I got. So all this is gonna be big dog fittings, right? We got all the Frigola and ICT billet stuff. I bought the good stuff, you know, so that low profile.
Have to.
One question I know I'm gonna get is I'm gonna need to do an ice tank. Honestly, 8 ice tanks are a pain in the all right, I've run them on cars, probably 3 or 4 different cars. And by the time you put ice in it, especially if the car's warm and you go to do your pass or your burnout, the ice is gone. It's gonna lower your intercooler temperatures for, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds before it gets up to temp. So my thought is with this expanded reservoirs here, I just got 40-pound lids for these things. So we'll weld one of these on here. I got a mirroring one for the other side, but the 40 pounds instead of the regular 15, I think is out on your daily driver, will help hold that pressure and water in the system. But all you gotta do is cut a hole and weld that sucker in, brother.
All right, yeah, that's easy enough, man.
And then we got obviously the AN bungs that we need to do for the feed and the return for each one of these tanks. So.
And where'd those go? Those go over here?
Yeah, so we're gonna need to lay this out kind of like once we get these mounted, I think.
Okay.
But I'm thinking definitely, so the water pump's gonna be sitting here.
Okay.
And so that's gonna come off, it'll go directly here. So the Dash 21 will probably sit here.
Sure.
And then it'll feed down into the Davis Craig underneath. And then it needs to go through the radiator. So, you know, we got some figuring out to do. Okay, do you have that mark? You get situated. I'll mark this. When you give me that,
should be right there.
The marker?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Huh. Is there any way you can come more towards this side at all, or no? That's all right. This will work.
That?
Just hold it exactly where you want it. How about that? We can always cut this framework out a little bit, so I'm not too worried.
There.
Okay, solid, and then this will feed down into the intercooler. Cool. All right, dude, I got what I need. Sweet. I'll give you these bungs. You get them cut out and welded up.
The other side too, right?
Yeah, let's do it. I think I'm gonna have to remove that freaking oil cooler, but we'll get her done. Man, I'm thinking like right here.
Right there is where it's gonna be.
All right, cool.
Sweet.
And you got this one marked up here?
Yep.
Sweet. All right.
It's just those two?
That's it.
Sweet.
And then obviously the fill caps, but we can do that later. Making progress, man. And then we're gonna have to weld these bungs on. These are gonna go on here. Where these knobs are at, we'll pull this out and we'll weld those onto there. Like we'll cut this off.
Okay.
And then stick these ones on there. You know what I'm saying? Because then everything will screw on and off. All the hoses will be nice and tight.
Okay. Yeah, you got me making bung holes. A ton of bung holes today.
I heard you're the bung hole king.
I'm the bung hole master.
is the tank that's pretty much done. We just need to put some tabs in to secure it to the vehicle. But this is going to be the inlet. This is going to be the outlet, and then it will go to the radiator. So the radiator's already got the bungs on it as well. I'm going to get this thing mounted up in the car, and then I can start selecting fittings on what angles, because these Dash 20 fittings are like 40, 50 bucks a piece. So we got to get it right the first time. Getting close, brother. Time to do some electrical.
Dude, every time.
Luke, he's killing it, dude.
Every time I walk away, something else gets done.
I know, man. This
car's gonna be doing burnouts before you can come back next time.
I know, dude. Hopefully. Getting close, that's for sure. I think once we get this fabbed in, then we can mount this to the bottom of the expansion tank, and then you can kind of see where it's going to go.
You think we should tell him that he needs welds here too?
Oh, dude, did I forget those?
No, he didn't.
All right, guys, we're like 95% of the way there on Parker's expansion tanks. We've got them in and assembled. We have the bungs welded out for the most part. Parker was actually short one bung, so we're waiting on that to come in right now. However, we got both expansion tanks in, and one of them is fully mounted already. All three bungs are in on this one. That's the passenger side. Now we've got the driver's side left. Just welded out these tabs. The only other thing is this one still needs to be mounted. We're waiting for a third bung that's gonna go right here. When we get that, we'll get it finished up and taken care of. In the meantime, we were able to finish welding out these extra bungs onto the radiator. And so he'll be able to quick disconnect his hoses if he has any leaks or any problems. So far, this burnout car is looking sick, dude. I can't wait. Parker's gonna be powder coating these to match the engine. So this thing's gonna be a beast, man. I can't wait to see this thing do some massive burnouts on the burnout pad. If you guys like this kind of content and want to see the full build on this burnout car, make sure you go check it out at Dr. Parker on YouTube. He's got the full build, filming every step of the way, and I'm just glad to be a part of this project. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you go check out the burnout car series. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys being here. Peace.